174 pounds, that's the weight. It's one of the weights that's been changed the most from graduation, wrestlers changing weights, etc. And it's going to look so different from a year ago. I'm going to go over my All-American, my national champion predictions, as well as the round of 12. I'll give you some wild cards to keep an eye out for. I'm going to let you know who left and who is in this weight class that's changed from a year ago. We're going to start with who has left this weight class. Well, the big one is, and this is probably receiving a thank you from the rest of 174, is Carter Staracci. He's no longer at 174. He's wrestling at 184. He won 4 titles at 174. He said, okay, I've tormented this weight class enough. I'm going to go up to 184 and cause some problems over there. So he's gone. Shane Griffith, national champion, is gone. Makai Lewis, national champion, is gone. Edmund Ruth moved up to 184. Ben Pazook graduated. Rocco Welsh, the NCAA finalist from last year, he has moved up to 184. He may redshirt this year, but at the very least, he is no longer at 174, outgrowing this weight class, it seems. So a lot of big names have left, but this is still going to be an absolutely loaded weight class because so many huge names, accomplished wrestlers have entered this weight class, including national champion, 2-time national champion, Keegan O'Toole. He is moving up to 174. And another national champion, Levi Haynes. He was a national champion at 157. He's all the way up at 174 pounds now as well. Who else is entering this weight class? Well, Nelson Brand's off of suspension. Now he is manning 174 for the Iowa Hawkeyes, as well as you've got Dan Bronigal from Illinois. You've got Clayton Whiting also at this weight class. So definitely a very tough weight class. They pretty much all are in NCAA wrestling. But for a weight to lose Carter Staracci and Rocco Welsh, the top 2 finishers, and still be almost as tough, if not as tough, just shows the depth of college wrestling and just how good this weight class is going to be. So a couple of wild cards to keep your eye out for. Jared Sima, this guy was one of the last qualifiers in NCAAs. This guy barely got into the tournament, and then he turned it into a round of 12 finish, and he was this close to beating Shane Griffith. And if he takes top in that third period, who knows what happens. He was right there to knock off Shane. Shane got it done and then wound up with a really high All-American finish, while Sima finished in the round of 12. And Lorenzo Norman, this guy redshirted last year, but he made some noise taking out Shane Griffith, and he's already made some noise this year taking out Nelson Brands, the Stanford Cardinal. He was a Blair Academy product. They are very high on him and what he's going to be able to do this year at 174. His length, his ability to get to legs, his defense, it's all there. He's kind of the complete package. I think you guys are going to enjoy watching Lorenzo Norman this year. All right, let's get into it. I'm going to give you my round of 12. These are the guys that are going to finish this short. And here's the thing. A lot of people just give their national champion or All-Americans. To me, round of 12 is a status. It is so hard to make it just to this round alone. So I figured these guys deserve the shine as well because it is a real achievement to make it this far. So my round of 12ers. Nick Incontrera of Penn. He's already had a great showing at the Journeyman. I think he's going to have a really solid season. He beat Simon Ruiz, who I also have finishing in the round of 12. And here's the biggest name I have in the round of 12, Carson Hartzler. And there's no doubt he's All-American caliber, but we haven't seen him in a while, and injuries have sidelined him. So it's a hedge in that I want his name in there in this top 12, but I'm not as confident to put him in that top 8 again at 174. We're just going to have to wait and see. And my final round of 12, Danny Bronigal of Illinois. I think he's going to finish just short of All-American honors this year. Now, all right, I'm going to count it down from 8th place all the way down to my national champion. In 8th place, Nelson Brands. Now, I maybe would have had him a little higher, but I've seen him wrestle 2 matches this year, and it knocked him down a couple pegs. Maybe I'm overreacting. That's entirely possible. But not able to score any takedowns in his first 2 matches has me a little concerned. I still think he's All-American caliber, and he's so tough, and he's so good at keeping the match close and scoring and using his mat IQ to win matches that I think he still winds up on the podium. I'm just not ready to put him back in that 5th place finish where we saw him 2 years ago. In 7th place, Lennox Wolak of now Virginia Tech. He was at Columbia previously and ran out of Ivy League eligibility and transferred to Virginia Tech. And this guy's got a really unique upper body style. Definitely throws a monkey wrench to some guys. He can be upset. He's not impervious to losing. I think Simon Ruiz of Cornell took him out last year. but I think Wolak going to do a great job for Virginia Tech this year. I think being at Virginia Tech is going to help him. Columbia did a great job a year ago, but there's just no denying he's going to have better training partners this year at Virginia Tech than he had a year ago at Columbia. 6th place, I've got Lorenzo Norman. I could be overreacting here, but I like taking a couple risks in some of my picks, and Lorenzo Norman is someone who we saw what he could do last year, and now that was a year where he kind of knew he wasn't going to be the starter. Now he's the guy. He went into Carver Hawkeye and beat Nelson Brands. To me, that's a statement. Maybe I'm overreacting to it, but I think Lorenzo is a guy that's going to be in every match because he's good positionally. He's really hard to take down, and he's good at getting takedowns. He uses his length extremely well, so I have him finishing 6th. 5th place, this guy is a rock at 174. I feel like if there's one guy where you don't think he could probably win it, but you feel confident they're going to place, it's Cade DeVos of South Dakota State. This guy is good from everywhere, great pace, good leg attacks. He's a good finisher. He can ride. He gets off the bottom. He's really, really good, guys. And 5th could be a slight of Cade DeVos. I think there's some elite talent entering this weight class, and there's one guy I actually forgot to mention. There's 2 I forgot to mention that are newcomers to this weight class, but I'll get to them very soon. But keep your eye out for Cade DeVos. If you haven't got to watch him yet, you're in for a treat. Very solid guy. Really tough to beat. 4th place, he's a newcomer to this weight class, and I forgot to mention him. Shame on me, but I'm mentioning him now. Lenny Pinto. I've got him getting 4th. I could be insane. But I saw him against Utah Valley, and I know he wasn't wrestling, an All-American caliber guy, but the power's there, the ability to wrestle for 7 minutes, it looks like it's there. And this guy can just do some special things that a lot of wrestlers can't do from a power perspective. I don't think he can win a national title this year, but I think he is a guy that can get on the podium. He's been short in the previous years. I think this is the year he gets it done. And I think 4th is very, very possible for him. So that's why I have him finishing 4th, just behind another newcomer to this weight class. And I forgot to mention him, but I'm mentioning him now. Dean Hamady of Oklahoma State. He's been at 165. Now he's up at 174. I think he at Oklahoma State, I think we're going to see him supercharged. And he's someone, if you're looking for a surprise finalist at this weight class, maybe it's him. Maybe it's Dean Hamady. This is a guy with great leg attacks. He's got a good feel. He's a pinner, no doubt about it. Great cradle series. Up at 174, not cutting as much weight. He was really big at 65 last year. I think Dean Hamady, Oklahoma State, is going to have a sensational year. But I've got him finishing 3rd behind. And here's the question. You've got 2-time NCAA champion Keegan O'Toole. You've got the reigning national champion 157, Levi Haynes. Something's got to give here. And maybe I'm overreacting to a freestyle win, but I've got Keegan O'Toole falling in the finals to Levi Haynes. And I'll get into it. Keegan O'Toole, we saw move up to 174, and we saw him wrestle Levi Haynes. And there were some power issues that I think Levi presented there. And Levi looked every bit of 174, and he beat him in this freestyle match. And I think for that reason, it's going to be a really tough win for Keegan O'Toole. Of course he can win. And we may see this one in December. There's a possibility these 2 teams duel each other, and we could see that match there. So an early preview, and can't wait for that one. And that will really be, if I could do, and I probably will do, a revised prediction after that match, or at least a reaction to it. But the problems that Levi presents are, 1, he's very powerful. He's really hard to score on. But 2, Keegan will have the advantage in scrambles. I do believe that. But Levi is going to be competent enough in those scrambles that I think he could mitigate a little bit of what Keegan does. Now, freestyle versus folk style, you could say, it could favor Keegan. But going into that match, the freestyle match, everyone in the world, including probably the Penn State staff, would say, yeah, Keegan's a better freestyler. He's a junior world champ. He has way more accolades. We just watched him beat David Carr. So obviously, Levi is an underdog there, and he beat him, right? And he beat him in a tournament. You can't say that Keegan had a bad tournament. He beat David Carr. So with all that factored in, allow me to just overreact, and I think it could be an overreaction, and say Keegan O'Toole falls to Levi Haynes at the 174 NCAA finals. Is this a little bit of the Penn State mystique? Well, maybe. Maybe that's when you're close, when you're weighing a Penn State guy and a non-Penn State guy, and you think it's close. And in the NCAA tournament, you just kind of generally want to lean Penn State. And seeing what Levi did at 157, that was a good weight last year, and he went undefeated in it. So I'm going Levi over Keegan. I hope we see this match in December, and maybe my mind will be changed out of that. But it would take a pretty significant performance, a strong performance from Keegan to change my mind here, because I think Levi is just going to be a tough matchup and a unique matchup for Keegan O'Toole. But I want to know what you think. Who's going to take home the top prize at 174 pounds? Who are your surprise All-Americans? Where do you disagree with me at 174? I want to hear from you.